Hello everyone, hope you all are doing great and welcome to this new course on movies clone. So basically we're going to be creating a sub clone of movies kind of app, movies by Flickster or Fandango, so those kind of apps. Um, so basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be building this mini movie explorer app in SwiftUI. Okay, and there are various different things that we're gonna learn, along the way. But before we go into what we're gonna learn, our course objectives are, let's go ahead and explore the app itself. So this is what we're gonna be building. So you're gonna have your main screen, and basically. This is just a settings screen I have included. Um, to show something, you can expand this certainly to store your preferences and stuff like that, and you can use core data. Check out my other video courses to see how to include core data, and then include that to basically save your users preferences and use that for your movies. Anyways, you've got this home screen, and this home screen has basically a current tab that's being displayed and a search bar, and this search bar is implemented for local, and you can expand its functionality by querying API as well. Okay, um, and then you have this tab that which shows what movies are basically now playing, upcoming, and trending. For example, you have all these movies that are under now playing section, and you can change this to upcoming. And as you notice how our current title, the title at the top is changing, as well as the response that we get. So this is all being changed, and we are gonna learn to reuse basically this existing view to populate new response. And if you notice, trending has similar uh, capability. Basically, you have the API response being rendered in a list, and then you can see the details, right? Now you can, if you're looking for, let's say, Wonder Woman, you can actually search for Wonder Woman, and it's all responsive search, so you get that. And then let's go ahead and check out what do we have, what other functionality do we have inside this page. So if you click on this, you go into the detail view, and you're going to learn how to create a sort of like a blur background view, and then you have your title and your image, and then you have your movie description. Then you've got reviews and cast. So you're going to learn how you're going to display all these, and cast is a scrollable, so you're going to make another API call to get that from the API and load that along with all the information that which character played which part and stuff like that. Okay, so you're going to be learning about that. You're going to be also fetching reviews, user reviews, and you're going to display them inside another view controller. So this is going to be, you can see how this page is sort of expanding like one after the other to further extend the functionality. Okay, so this is going to be the home page. Then you're going to have a discover page, and discover page is going to show you the movies that are actually now playing. And this is something that you're gonna, this carousel view is something that you're gonna build from scratch. And this is basically a snap carousel. So let's say if you're halfway, then your your view or your card basically takes, if you're halfway, then next card takes place and snaps into the center. Otherwise, if you do a little bit scroll, then your existing card snaps back. Okay, and once again, it's got some nice UI and stuff, so you're gonna be learning about that. And if you click on details, you're gonna basically learn to reuse some of the views that you have created. So here we are launching that movie detail view once again, filled with cast and everything information, right, for the reviews. So there are no reviews in this one, and let's check out if we have anything for this guy right here. And there we go. We have some reviews in here. And yeah, um, so like I said, this is basically going to be the app that we're going to be building. Now let's check out what we are going to be learning while doing all this. So as you notice, like, there's a whole bunch of code. So this is like, the um, completed code or completed project that I have. And you can see, like, there are so many components that goes in place to display, like, a few, like 5 or 6 however many pages that we have. And we're going to be learning a whole bunch of things, like, during this. So let's talk about what are the things that we're going to be learning. So you're going to be learning about generic network manager for API calls, because you're going to be making a lot of API calls in this app. So we're going to learn how we can make them generic, so we don't have to, like, create one for get movies, one for get response and stuff like that. We have one generic network call, and then we use that generic network call to make all the API calls. You're going to be learning about Swift Package Manager. So I thought, like, we'll just include Almofire. Although we don't need Almofire, you're going to see, like, there's a really small use case for Almofire, or, like, URL session. And URL session is perfectly capable of handling everything that we need. But I thought, like, it'll be a good exercise for us to try out the Swift Package Manager. So and you're going to see, like, how much better it is from CocoaPod. So for that reason, I thought, like, I'll throw this in there. And you're going to be learning about Combine, basically how to use Combine to make these API calls. So you're going to be learning about that. You're going to be learning about how to create network image loader using Combine. So basically, if you have dealt with images, you must have like, dealt with images that are stored within your app, or static images. But whenever it comes when it comes to a time where you have to use your image, or fetch your image from network, what happens in that case is basically your network response is slow. So your image does not get displayed immediately. So what do you do in those cases? Like, do you show a placeholder and stuff? You build your own component. There are, like, a whole bunch of challenges around that, like, around that network management itself when downloading images. So you're going to be actually building your own custom image loader. And this image loader is generic enough that you can actually take it and put it in any of your project, or make a framework out of it and then use it. So once again, we are not going to be using any of the third-party library. We are going to see how to build it on our own. If you have used SD web image, I have used it with SwiftUI, and its response, it's not super responsive. It's got some, like, lag and stuff, and there are some, like, memory issues that I have encountered personally. I might be using it wrong, but that's when I thought, like, I'll actually build it out and use this. So you're going to be learning about that. During that, like, image downloading, or network-based image downloading and an image loader construction, you're also going to learn about caching. So image caching is very important, because you don't want to make your network calls to download images over and over, because that's a data consumption, and that is a data cost for your user. So you want to cache as much as you can. So we're going to be using NSCache, and we're going to see how you can leverage NSCache from iOS itself to basically cache your images. And then you're going to be building a custom view, which is basically going to load your network images, and it's going to also provide you capability of placeholder. So while your image is being downloaded, your placeholder will be displayed. Okay, So those are some of the things like, related to images and network, but there's a whole bunch in SwiftUI itself. So because we are building everything in SwiftUI and the whole layout is in SwiftUI, you're going to be learning about SwiftUI layouts and view components itself, along with view composition techniques. Okay. You're going to be using various different views like tab view, vstack, images, etc. And basically you're going to be using hundreds of view modifiers that are present in SwiftUI, and there are a whole bunch of view modifiers that you're going to use. Probably not hundreds, but like, yeah. uh, okay, and you're going to learn how to customize your navigation view appearance. So basically the navigation controller per se, like, that used to exist in UIKit, that exists in UIKit basically, which is the backing of your UI. So you're gonna see how you can, while using the navigation view, how you can customize the look and feel of your navigation view by tapping into that back, the supporting navigation controller. So UI navigation controller still supports navigation view. So navigation view is built on the top of UI navigation controller. So you're going to be actually leveraging capabilities of that to be of UIKit's UI navigation controller to change the appearance of your SwiftUI navigation view. So you're going to see how we can do that. You're going to learn about segmented controls. So basically how to use segmented control. You just saw the example where we change movies from now playing to trending and stuff like that. So you're going to see how you can actually, based on the change, create a call for the API and download data and basically display that. You're going to see, like, how to use a form view. So the form view was basically when we used the settings view, right? So this is the form view. I've just, like, put together something something like really small, but you'll see, like, how to present it, how to present a sheet, and, like, dismiss a sheet, and that sheet is gonna have like form in it. You're gonna learn about list for each custom cells, for a list buttons, background customization, a mini circular progress graph. So this guy right here is a mini circular progress graph that we have created, and this shows, like, how popular this movie was among the audience, based on the average votes that it has received. Okay, this is the part of the API, and we're gonna actually leverage that to create some graph in there. So you're going to see how we can actually normalize data to display this graph. Okay, and along with that, you're going to be learning about scroll view to create like horizontally scrollable cells. So we actually looked at those here. So this is a placeholder, the gray part, and then this is the scroll view, horizontal scroll view. So this is also a scroll view, and you can see, like, this another scroll view is part of that. So you're gonna see how to build these complex sort of layouts. Now, list appearance customization. So if you notice, like, we have done some customization here. You have, like, your navigation controller or navigation view, which is being displayed here, but it doesn't look anything like a navigation view. So we have actually applied some customization here, and here also we are using a navigation view still exists, and the back button and everything, we are using all the capabilities, but we are customizing its look and feel, so it actually becomes part of the view itself, right? And the list itself, like, if you notice, there's no selection, so we are actually sort of customizing it so it doesn't display the selected item and stuff like that. So you're gonna see, like, how you can basically customize your list. Geometry reader use case is basically here. So you're gonna learn about geometry reader, how to basically create these movie cards, and how to snap them, basically depending upon how far you are in the scroll view, or like in the scroll action or drag action, and then drag gesture, and then like snap your view back, and we're going to be seeing how you can leverage Geometry Reader for this. Once again, like presenting and dismissing the sheet is going to be another thing, and you're going to learn about code structure, so how to structure your code that makes sense and still keep your sanity, like while developing huge projects. Okay, so there's a lot that is going to go on in this course, so I hope you are excited, and let's go ahead and get started and build the entire app from scratch. All right, so before we start, first thing I want to point out that you are going to be leveraging the moviedatabase.org. So the API from this website called themoviedb.org or tmdb.org. Just Google it, you'll find it. And we're going to be using API and basically the responses from these guys to create our app. Okay, so all the data that you are seeing is gonna come from here. Okay, and as you can see, there are a whole bunch of things. Actually, you can well, like it includes like a lot of information, like it includes about movies, and as you can see, like we have popular, now playing, upcoming, top rated movies here. It has TV shows, people, and like a whole bunch of stuff. So if you go on the website, click on, first of all, click on login. If you haven't created yourself an account, go ahead and sign up here. So just sign up. It's a free sign up. They'll give you an API key, and I would highly encourage, like before proceeding in the course, that you're gonna actually need that. So go ahead and get yourself an API key, and once you have the API key, you're gonna go into the API. So documentation/API is gonna actually take you to another URL, and this URL is going to drop you in this documentation, and basically what you're going to be looking for is movies. So our base URL is going to be basically /movies. So let me see if we can find that. So try it out, and this is going to be your base URL. So https://api themoviedb.org/tree/movie, and you're gonna see that. But anyways, you're gonna have like you're gonna go to movie section, and then you have all the different APIs basically for upcoming and stuff. And the best part is once you have the API key, just enter your API key here and send a request. If this doesn't work, if you have like ad blocker or something, and it doesn't work, simply copy that URL and paste it in your address bar right here in a new tab, and you will be able to get yourself the JSON response if you want to check out how it looks. Okay, this is good to get yourself familiarized with the API itself as well, because you're gonna be building upon these. So let's say if you want to include additional features and stuff, so you would know like what basically to display and what kind of information you can get from the API. All right, so I'll highly encourage you to check out this this documentation. Okay, and once you're ready, you got yourself the API key, then hop into the project and we'll start creating the project. So I got myself an API key, so I'm going to be using that, and you're going to be using yours. Okay, all right, so what I've done is basically I've created a new project. I've created a blank project, and I chose SwiftUI as the template. So let me show you. So if you go File, New Project, select App under iOS, and you're gonna click Next. And here you're gonna for the interface, for the interface, you're gonna choose SwiftUI this time. And for the lifecycle, you have an option. So if you feel comfortable working with app delegate and you're not yet ready to switch into SwiftUI version of app, then you can always choose this option. And what this is going to do is basically it's going to create an app delegate file for you, where you can have like app delegate and scene delegate, where you can have um, all the events of app launch and stuff available. Although you can still do it with SwiftUI app. Maybe in another course I'll show you how to do that. And anyways, but here we're going to be choosing SwiftUI app to bring everything into SwiftUI version. So there's no sort of like UI kit, app delegate dangling anywhere. Okay, and other than that, you just provide your product name here. I named mine the movies, and then fill out the rest of the information, click next, and it's gonna create a project. Once you have created a project, you're gonna land right here. So if you're like first time using SwiftUI, then there are a few things like you gotta know your app file, the movies app in this case, because my project's name is the movies. So the movies app.swift file contains a function called the movies app body, like in a struct basically, and it has a function called attribute called main. Okay, this is a property wrapper main. It actually annotates that this is the entry point, this is the launch point, this is where app starts and stuff, right? Okay, so you can literally take this and move it to another main if you feel like. If you have another app that you want to create, like or based on certain condition you want to launch a different app and stuff like that, you can very well do that. So that's the flexibility of this. The other thing that you gotta note is your app is now made or SwiftUI app is made up of window groups, which launches content view. So in your app delegate, you would see a scene delegate, and scenes are constructed. In case of new layout or SwiftUI 4.0 and onwards, SwiftUI 2.0 and onwards, iOS 14 and onwards, you will have this window group that actually creates windows, right? Now, where is this applicable? When well, when we were creating the project, there is another option for like multiple different, to target multiple different platforms. So let me show you once again, new project. And this multi-platform is basically to target apps for multiple different platforms. Essentially what that means is you can create an app that will work for your not only for your iOS but iPadOS, macOS, tvOS, watchOS. So you can actually have a single app working on all the different platforms, right? So this window group is how it actually manages those states. In our case, it's simple. It has a window group. It has one window that we have. It's called content view. The content view is our entry point. Okay, so our entry point is where we have our first page. The content view, in this case, has a text. Now, SwiftUI also comes with this this beautiful feature called canvas, and you can enable your canvas, and if you resume here, you're gonna see your UI in real time, what you're building. Now, as a part of this course, while I'm recording, I won't be able to show you because it tremendously slowed down my computer a couple of instances when it could not load. As you can see, it's taking rather long time to load because I have recording and a bunch of other things going on this machine. So if you're doing your own development, it will be fast when you're not recording. So I'm not going to be using it. I just wanted to show you really quickly how it looks like. Hopefully. Okay, let me pause the video recording, and I'll come back when it's loaded. All right, so you'll not believe it, literally as soon as I pause the video recording, it actually loaded. Anyways, so here's your here's how your canvas looks like. All right, and your canvas is like I said, is rendering your changes real time. So for example, if I go here and change the font to be large title, you're gonna see that in effect immediately. And foreground color blue, like so. Okay, so this is the benefit of canvas. It's actually, it makes your UI development um, a lot faster. Like, you don't have to do command R bunch of times. um, we're going to be doing that for the recording purposes. So I'm gonna basically just go ahead and click on show editor only. Okay, and we're gonna leave it at that. And we are going to be using actual simulator. So let me go ahead and launch this into simulator. And as you see, like, it's really fast in simulator. Okay, so our app is working okay, and our app is set up. So let's go ahead and create some folders first. So I'm going to create maybe, like, a few folders. So one thing we know that we're going to need an async. We're going to be creating an async image utility. So let's create async image folder, right? Which is going to have all the functionalities related to it. Reason I'm naming that folder, so um, so I would know, like, this is all the async image view itself is gonna need. So whenever I need to basically grab it and drop it in another folder, or, like, another project, or create basically a framework out of it, I can actually just grab all the files. Okay, another folder we're gonna need is going to be your networking. Okay, this is gonna host all the networking related stuff. Then you're gonna need one for models. Okay, where you're gonna have, like, all your models for your movie cast reviews and stuff like that created. Okay, and we're gonna need another one for views, and this is where all of our views are gonna go. The views that we're gonna create, like home, settings, movies, sales, details, discover, stuff like that. Okay, so all right, so our folders are ready, and I guess the first thing we can do is we can set up our tab, or our content view right here. Okay, so the way we can do that is we are going to actually remove these, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a navigation view. Navigation view is your view controller, and inside the navigation view, we are going to group. So we're going to create a group, and there's going to be there's going to be two tabs that we're going to be showing, right? And in order to show those two tabs, we're going to actually create a home controller, or home tab, home view actually, and we're going to add that into those tabs into that. So I'm going to select SwiftUI view, and I'm going to call this home tab view, and I'm going to leave it at that right now, and we're going to come back to this. But here inside the group, we're going to say home tab view. Okay, this is going to set up our tabs, and now here we're going to actually also give a navigation bar title. Navigation bar title, and a navigation bar title is going to be movies. And we can also set the display mode, whether we want large title, inline, or automatic, which is the one that we want. Okay, and we are also going to add that settings button. So let's go ahead and create a navigation bar items. So navigation bar items, and we want the one that takes trailing. Okay, so we're gonna say we need a some view at the trailing part. So we are simply going to create an edge stack here. Okay, and inside this edge stack, we're gonna display a view. So for now, I'm simply gonna say settings right here. Okay, now We're also gonna attach a sheet to this. So sheet is basically your pop-up view that's gonna open as a sheet, and we're gonna display our settings view inside. So we're gonna simply say sheet. Okay, we need the overload that takes present is presented. Okay, so we're gonna take that one. Now is presented is a state property, so whenever the sheet is open, that state is changed, so you can actually close that sheet or basically modify the state and it'll close the sheet. So for that we're gonna create a state property wrapper at state with at state, and this is going to be private. So at state private var show settings, and we're going to set it to false. So because we don't want to show our settings screen as soon as the app is launched. Okay, and we're going to say show settings. Okay, and for the content we are going to have a settings view here. Like so. Okay, all right, before we proceed, let me go ahead and just run this so we can see what we got. So there you go, you have your navigation, your view that says hello world, which is your home tab view, and your settings, which is actually not tappable yet because our navigation bar item is just a text. Okay, so we're going to change that to a button next. Okay, so let's go ahead and change it to a button. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a private variable settings button, which is going to be of type some view, and we're going to create a button here, and this button is going to take an action. Okay, so I'm going to simply say empty action for now, and we're gonna create the label as hstack image. We're gonna use SF symbol, so it's an app SF symbol, and what it does is basically it gives you all the symbols or vector-based symbols that come along with your OS or your platform, right? So this is your app that you can download. Just Google SF symbols, or SF symbol 2 actually is now available, so you can actually check that out. But what you can do here is you can, let's say for example, search for a gear, and this is what you get. So what you can do is you can hold Command Shift C to copy the name of the icon or the vector that you want to create, and then you just paste it here, and that's gonna be your image, and you're gonna see that in a minute. I'm gonna give an image scale to be large and foreground color to be gray. We're also gonna give it a frame width and height 30 points. Okay, and now instead of this text, which is not tappable, we're gonna simply say it's gonna be settings button. Now for the button action, we want to actually just call show settings and toggle its property. So we're just gonna say if it's true, set it false; if it's false, set it true. Okay, let's go ahead and build it, and there we go. And as you can see, our sheet is being presented. You can dismiss this sheet, and right now this sheet is only showing your text view. Okay, and we're gonna be actually populating that next. Okay, so we're gonna be creating our settings view next. All right, so let's go ahead and build out our settings screen. So I'm gonna add a new file, so Command N on views folder, and you're gonna select SwiftUI view template, and we are gonna simply name this one settings view. Okay, and now the settings view is going to take a few things, or it's going to have like a few uh, property wrappers and stuff. So first of all, it's going to have a few state type variables. So private or selection. Basically, we're going to use this for genre selection. Email, and submit. Okay. So so basically what we're going to do is submit probably we're not going to need. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, so what we're gonna do basically is we're gonna have this form, right? And this form is gonna have, it's gonna show you a picker view with genres, favorite genres. So you're gonna list out some genres there, and you're also gonna have a section for email where user can enter an email. Now, in this case, we're not gonna do much with that information, but I just want to leave it as a challenge for you to extend it further and use it basically to persist somewhere. Use that information to persist somewhere so you can make your movies app more user friendly, where your users can save their favorite genre and stuff, and you can always show them movies related to those genres and stuff. So you can actually extend this further. But I just want to show you an example of um, form and how to launch and dismiss your sheets programmatically and stuff. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do here is we're going to have a navigation view, right? Inside the navigation view, we're going to have a form, and we're going to have a picker. Okay. Picker takes selection, label, and content. So we're going to choose that overload, and we're going to say for selection, use the binding value of selection. For the text, we are simply going to have a text widget, and we're going to call this favorite genre. And for the content, we are going to have, and actually we can use a trailing closure here. Like that. Okay. We're going to have 4 values. And each value is going to have a tag. Okay, and this tag is how basically your picker is going to recognize what user has picked or selected, and that value is basically going to be populated inside selection. That's why we are binding that selection here. All right, so these are 4 picker values that we're gonna have. Now in the form, you can have sections, right? So you can create a section by simply calling a section view, and section takes a few things. So you can have just the content, you can have footer and content, you can have header and content, or header, footer, and content. We're gonna use the one that takes header and content, and here, for the header, we're gonna simply have a text email, and for the content is going to be a text field called email, and we're gonna bind its text to email, like so. And for the text field style, we are going to simply say it's a rounded border text field style. All right. And then we're going to have a button with action and label. And for the action, we're going to simply do some dismiss part, basically dismissing the sheet. So let me leave that out for a minute because I want to show you first the default behavior. Okay, so I'm going to leave it blank and I'm going to simply say its view is going to be a text called save. Okay, and now we can give this navigation view a navigation title called settings. All right, and there you go. We have our settings view ready. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to our content, and here where we were actually simply showing a text, we're going to call settings okay, and I'm going to launch. So we have our home page and we click on our settings and there we go. You have your settings appear. Now you can choose different genres and as you can see it's being stored. You can have some email and stuff. You can have validation. Now if you click on save, it does not dismiss, right? So the only way to dismiss right now is by dragging and dismissing. So that's basically how you can dismiss, but you can sort of have your save button dismiss your sheet by accepting a parameter. So we're gonna say at binding, okay, and we're gonna create a variable called is presented of type boolean. Now what's the difference between binding and state? So a quick primer. Binding and state both are property wrappers. Okay, your state is always sort of any state related variable or any state related property that's changing your UI state, or whenever it changes you wanna update your UI. So it's internal. It's basically internal to the view. So this view is gonna use this state. Okay, and whenever this state changes, it's gonna re-render. And efficiency and stuff, it's really efficient. Like it only renders what it knows has been updated and stuff like that. So SwiftUI is smart about that. Binding is something that you receive from outside, and basically when you receive it from somewhere else, basically a caller, you modify that and the value itself reflects back into the caller's space. Okay, so reason I'm saying that that it's going to be reflecting upon that because this is how we're going to actually toggle that is presented guy right here. So this show settings is gonna be toggled whenever we're gonna change this is presented from here. Okay, so remember that button that you had? We're simply gonna say is presented dot toggle. So it's gonna update the state, but it's not gonna be updating the state for this page, right? It's gonna be updating the state for the caller, which is content view. So show settings is gonna be updated. Okay. Now this error in the preview, let me show you how you can really easily fix this. So you can say is presented. Now it's going to show you this boolean binding. So you can accept that and just say constant and give it a false in this case. Okay, so that's how you can actually get this error fixed if you're using Canvas. Now in our case, let's go to content view. If you try to build, it's not going to build because there is a missing argument here, and we're going to fix that, and we're going to supply a binding value. So whenever you create dollar, right, you create a binding type. So you're going to simply say dollar show settings, and there you go. You bound your show settings variable to the is presented variable inside settings view. Now this is gonna give us ability to dismiss that sheet that we presented from the save button. Okay, so here we go, and I'm gonna click on save, and it dismisses the sheet. Okay, all right, let's go ahead and move forward. So we got our settings view ready. Now next, let's set up our home tab and basically create our tabs and stuff. So we're not showing hello world, but we are showing a little bit more meaningful information. Okay, so that's what we. All right, so let's go ahead and set up our home tab. Um, so for the home tab view, we're gonna have two tabs. We're gonna have movies and discover, right? So I guess the best way is to create an enum that will basically store our tabs. Okay, so we're gonna create an enum inside this struct, and we're gonna call this tabs or tab. It's gonna be of type int. Okay, and we're gonna say case movie and case discover. Okay, now you're gonna create state, once again a state type variable, selected tab, and by default the first tab that's going to be selected is going to be tab.movie. All right, and for the body we're gonna need basically a tab view. And this tab view is it takes two types of overload. So one is content, just the content, and another one is selection and content. So we're going to select that, and for the selection we are going to say it's going to be selected tab binding value, and I'm going to remove everything from here and simply going to create an empty shell. Okay, so we need two things. We need movies view and discover view. So let's go ahead and create two new views. All right, so we're going to call this movies view, and we're going to have a discover view. Okay, so let me move settings up. All right, okay, so we're going to call movies view and discover view. Okay, so inside the movie, so we recognize which one it is. We're going to simply change this to hello movies and hello discover, just for now. Okay, and here in the tab view we're gonna say movies view is gonna be the first one with tab item. Okay, tab item is basically your label and image that you're gonna show, right? So tab bar item, right? Let's say let's create a func or private func tab bar item, because we're gonna be calling this a bunch of times, so it's easy to create a function that actually returns a tab bar item. We're gonna have a vstack, okay, and inside the vstack we're gonna have an image which is gonna be system name, and the name that's been passed with image scale to be large. All right, and we're gonna have a text of type text. Okay, so we're gonna call this tab bar item. It takes like we defined, it takes text and the image. So we're gonna say for the text we're gonna say movies, and for the image we're gonna say film. Once again we are using SF symbol. Okay, so that's your tab bar item. Okay, and we're gonna give it a tag and tag is going to be tab.movie in this case. Okay, then we're going to have something similar for discover view, and tab item, tab bar item, discover, and the image is going to be square dot stack. You're going to have a tag tab dot discover. Okay, and that's about it. That's how you're going to create your tab. So let's go ahead and launch this. Command R, and there you go. So you have your two tabs showing up. We have first tab that says hello movies, and second tab that says hello discover. And as you can see, the tab selection and transition is all taken care for us. Okay. All right, so that is our home tab view. That's about it. Like, we don't need to do anything further in this. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna move on to movies view. Now, before we actually start working on our movies view, we're gonna need uh, a few things, like a few for example, like network API calls, models, and async images and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and work on all of that, and once we have all the infrastructure ready to basically call movies and display movies, then we're going to come back to movies view and populate that. So we're gonna start creating our models first. Okay, so we are going to be creating models in this group, or um, in this section. Now, um, if you remember, we're gonna need a few models. Like we're gonna need a model for movie, cast, and review. So let's go ahead and take a look how JSON for movie actually looks like. So I went ahead and pulled up api.dmoviedb.org's movie now playing API link, and I've got the response here. And if you notice, this is actually the JSON response that has a key value pair, and it has basically a date that actually lists out dates, um, and then you have page number, then you have results, and results is where we have our movie response, the response that we are interested in. Okay, and this contains backdrop, genre, original language, title, overview, all that sort of stuff, right? So this is going to become our movie object. Okay, so with that in mind, let's go ahead and create our model in such a way where our keys actually match exactly what these keys are, and we'll be able to use codable protocol to basically parse this data directly into an object from JSON. Okay, so what we can do is we're gonna go back to our project, and under models, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create our movie model. So I'm gonna select Swift file and gonna call it movie, and importing from foundation is fine. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna create a struct for movie response. Okay, so and this is gonna conform to codable protocol. Now, movie response is basically going to be this response right here. So we get this JSON initially. So we need results. So I'm gonna copy that results key from here, and I'll just create a variable called results. Okay, and this is going to be something called movie, an object called movie. Now this movie object is not created yet, so let's go ahead and create that. So I'm going to create a struct movie. Okay, once again, this is going to be codable protocol, conforming to codable, and it's also going to be conforming to identifiable protocol, so we can use this inside our list if we need to sort and drag and drop and anything that we want to do related to that nature, we can actually do that. Now this movie already provides an ID if you look at it. So if you look at the result, an individual result, then you can notice there is ID of integer type. So we're going to need that. So we're going to simply say it's integer optional. Now these are not actually defining all of these optional because any of these can be null. So we should allow that possibility. Okay, so uh, like that, we're gonna also need title. So there's title right here. Okay, original language is there. So I'm gonna take original language and overview, poster path, um, backdrop path, and popularity, voting average, and stuff like that. So let me go ahead and populate these. Word count is going to be integer. So we're not going to be using a lot of these. We're going to be using a few of these, but I want to create it. If in case you need to expand your functionality for movies, then you can do that. Okay, uh, just a few more and release date. Okay. Now, if you don't want to stick to these names, these key names, the underscore, then you can use something called coding keys under Codable Protocol. So just find out about coding keys, and you should be able to change these names and map them according to basically what you need or what your requirement is. For our purpose, I'm just gonna leave it like this. Okay. Now, for the poster path only gives us a um, link, like I mean, the path for the image itself, but doesn't give you the beginning, like or the full URL, fully qualified URL. So basically, what we can do is, and it's not like API. Actually, there are images service that handles for this particular case. Uh, in case of IMDb or the MovieDB API. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a computed property. So we're going to say poster path, right? And I'm going to call this. It's going to be a string type. And we're going to say if let path is equal to poster underscore path. So if there's anything in poster path, then we're going to return, and I'm going to copy paste the URL, and then I'll show you. Let me talk about what it is. So this is the URL where you get all the images in case of TMDB. So any image that you have, you just prepend this or prefix that link with this, and you should be good to go. Okay, and then we're gonna have our path element. So we're gonna say path. Okay, so that's gonna construct a URL for the path, and else we're gonna say return empty. Okay, so that's one of our computed property. We are going to take our voting average, and we're gonna normalize that. So voting average, the value is given. So if you look at the voting average right here, it's up to 10, right? But in our case, um, for our display purposes, we need to display it inside a circle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to normalize this between 0 and 1, and that part is really easy. All you need to do is divide the value by 10, because we need the value between 0 and 1, and the maximum value is 10. So you can just divide the voting average by 10, and that's going to give us a normalized value. So we're going to simply say it's going to be a double type computer property, and we're going to say if let average vote underscore average, then return average avg divided by 10.0. Okay, and otherwise return 0.0. Okay. Now we also need a title with English. So instead of using title, or not English, instead of using title with like originally only title, we're gonna use title with language. So we actually are gonna create a parentheses, and we're gonna show which language this movie is in. Okay, so we're gonna simply say title with language, and this is going to be another computer property. So this shows you an example that your model does not have to stick to basically what's the API response. You can have your own properties as well. You're going to say card let title is equal to title, let lang is equal to original language, else you're gonna return empty. Okay, and you're gonna return title, and there's going to be parentheses and another one and backslash and lang, like that. Okay, so basically it's gonna print the movie name along with its language in parentheses or in brackets. Okay. All right, so that is our movie model. So similarly, we're gonna have model for cast. So let me go ahead and create a model for cast as well, and you can go ahead and check out the API. So I've already checked out, so let's finish this part quickly. Once again, cast has cast response, and basically instead of result it has something called a key called cast. So I'm going to use that, and cast struct is not created, so let's go ahead and create that. It's going to be conforming to codable protocol and identifiable protocol. Once again, ID we're going to need, that's part of the identifiable protocols requirement. We're going to have cast name, character it played, profile path, and this profile path is basically gonna return us a profile photo. So we're gonna say profile photo, and this is our computer property, and we're gonna simply say if let path is equal to profile path. So if there is a profile path, return. um, so once again, we're gonna take that image service URL and append path to that. Okay, that's going to give us the profile path. If there is nothing, or if the profile path is nil, then we're going to return a placeholder image. So this service right here lets you select a random image. So I'm going to use that. Okay, so that's our cast model, and let's go ahead and create our review model. This is where we're gonna store movie reviews. Um, so we're gonna once again have a struct review response. Reviews ID is of type string, so we're gonna type define the type accordingly. There's author and there's content. All right, with this, our model is now ready. So we have three main things that we're going to be doing within this app. There's going to be movie, so we're going to be displaying information about movie and the cast that movie had. So we're going to display information about them and reviews. So these are the three models that we're going to need, because these are the three essential pieces that we're gonna connect our app or API to, um, and then get that data. Okay, so this is all the these are all the models that we needed. So let's go ahead and um, code our first our networking layer, and then we're gonna basically talk about our asynchronous image control or image view, which is gonna download images asynchronously. Okay. All right, for this part, what we're gonna do is we're gonna be using Elmofier. By the way, you don't have to use Elmofier. I'm just using it because I want to show you, how you can include Swift Package Manager into your project, and how easy it is. Instead of going through that CocoaPod and uh, doing the pod install and stuff like that, and creating a new project file. In case of Package Manager, it's all done and it happens within Xcode, within the same project. So that's actually the beauty of it. So that's why I'm showing you, but you can implement the same functionality using URL session very easily. Okay, so with that said, let me go ahead and click on File. I'm going to select Swift Package, add package dependency, and we're gonna paste the URL. So the URL for Almofire is it's hosted on GitHub. So https://github.com/almofire/almofire.git. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and click next on it, and it's gonna choose the repository and the version. So I'm gonna leave it for selected, and now it's actually resolving that dependency. So Xcode is going to take a minute, a few seconds, maybe not a minute, but yeah, there you go. So now it has resolved the dependency. It's asking whether you want to add this into your library or not. So we say yes, and there we go. So we have in your project, we have um, your packages installed. So what you can do with this is you can come here anytime you want to delete a package, you want to change the version of it. You can just simply double click on it, or you can add a new package. So that's how you actually can do that. All right, so this is it. All you needed to do is basically add a package and you are good to go. So let's go ahead and create our network manager, which is going to be using Helmofire. So I'm going to create a new Swift file, and we're going to call this network manager. Okay, and this is going to import from Helmofire. Okay, as you can see, it's already detecting that. So that's good. And we're going to create a final class network manager of type T. So it's going to be some generic type, right? And it's going to conform, the type is going to conform to codable protocol. Now I want to mention this here. If you haven't worked with generics, generics are really easy to use and understand. It make your code really compact. So I have another video series on mastering generics, so I would actually recommend you to check it out before if you want to explore more about generics, and if you want to understand all the basics of generic and how you build upon your existing code to create your code more generic. Okay, with that, let's go ahead and continue. I'm going to create a static function called fetch. Okay, and this fetch is going to fetch from URL string, which is going to be a string, and it's going to have a completion block. And the completion block is going to be escaping type, which is going to return a result of type T and some network error. Okay, now this network error is not defined, so we can actually create that in just a bit. And let's go ahead and create an enum for network error. And this network error is going to have only two cases, so invalid response and nil response. Okay, so these are the only two we're going to have. And now we're going to use AF networking. So once again, you can use URL session. So URL session dot shared dot data task, like that, or you can use AF networking for AF dot. You can create a request, and we're going to use the overload that takes a string, so URL string, okay, as the endpoint, and then it actually returns a response. So we need a response that decodes. So we're going to say response decodable. Okay, and what we're going to do is we are going to remove all of that, and there is an overload that takes off, so we're going to use this one. It has a lot of parameters, so I'm simply going to select that, and for off we're going to say t dot self. Okay, so type dot self, that's what we need, and rest everything I'm going to just delete because it's all optional. And this returns a response, so I'm going to say add esp. Okay, I'm going to check if response dot error is not equal to nil, right? Then we're going to say completion, send a failure with invalid response, also print response dot error. Okay, and return from here. Okay, now we're gonna simply check one more thing. We're gonna say if let payload. So if there is anything in the response, so response dot value, so if there's data in there, we're gonna say completion send success and send the payload. And if you notice, this success sends something that can be decodable and encodable, which means it's codable. So any class conforming, any class or structure or type conforming to that can be returned. So our payload is gonna be, because our payload is conforming to codable type, is gonna be returned here. Okay, and we're gonna simply say return. Now we're gonna also have completion for in general cases, like, if this is nil, then we're gonna reach here, and we're gonna say that means the payload was not there. There was nothing in the response, so we're just gonna send a failure saying it's a nil response. Okay, all right, so that's all our network layer is gonna have. Now I'm gonna create another class, and I'm gonna call our struct, and I'm gonna call this one API. Okay, and API. Okay, so this API struct is gonna contain your API key. Okay, it's generally a good practice to have, like, a file or basically a separate space for your API key, and this basically helps you remove the sensitive information or sensitive, like in this case API keys, from your Git commits and stuff like that. So if you don't want to include that, you can simply have it like removed, or consider GitHub to not upload that file. Okay. um, so what you can do here is you can paste your API key that you have found, that IMDb API has given to you after you registered. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video, and I will add this API key in a bit and come back. But I'm also going to create uh, a movie URL, so movie URL enum, and this movie URL enum is where we're gonna continue. So let me go ahead and populate the API key first. All right, so I've populated my API key. That was quick. So let's go ahead and go to our movie URL. Okay, and we're gonna create an enum called movie URL, and we're gonna construct our URL here for movie. So simply it's going to be of string types, and we're going to have case now playing. Okay, now playing, the value it's going to contain is going to be now underscore playing. Okay, so these are actual responses. So let me go ahead and show you in the URL. Sorry, not the responses, API endpoints. But if you notice, now playing is now underscore playing. So all this is coming from their documentation. Okay, there's nothing that we're actually inventing or creating our own. It's basically the service endpoints. Okay, so we're gonna have upcoming, and this is called upcoming, popular. Okay. Now we're also going to create a public variable, which is going to be called URL string, and this is basically going to return us the URL. Okay, now URL is something that's gonna come from um, the base URL is gonna come from somewhere. So let's centralize that. So what I'm gonna do is, for now, I'm simply gonna say there's a base URL. Okay, and it's just a placeholder, and then you're gonna take self dot raw value. Okay, and it's gonna have API underscore key, and this is where we're gonna use our API dot key. Okay, I guess we are missing one. um, yeah, code. Not in for path, we're changing. Okay, yeah, should be like that. Okay, awesome. So API key, language is gonna be English US, and page is gonna be one. Okay, all right, so where's this base URL is gonna come from? This base URL is gonna come from a movie download manager that we're gonna create. So let's go ahead and create a new file called movie download manager. So movie download manager. Okay, and this movie download manager is basically, um, I don't think we need it. We need to import Elmfire. Let's wait for it if we need to. Okay, so we're going to definitely import from SwiftUI because it has combined, and we're going to make this class observable. So we're going to say final class movie download manager observable object. Okay, and this observable object is going to publish two things. It's going to publish movies, is gonna be initialized with an empty array of movie, and it's gonna be also publishing cast because both of them are displayed on the same page. So we're gonna need that information, and it's related to movie, so I'm just gonna keep it here. Okay, now this guy is gonna have a static variable base URL, which is going to be the base URL for our movies. So I'm just gonna paste it right here. So it's https://api.themoviedb.org/3/movie/. Okay, so that's going to be our base URL. Now this is going to have few functions, so let's create a function get now playing. Okay, and it's going to have another function for upcoming, and popular. Okay, now all these three functions are gonna call this one private function get movies, and this get movies expects a movie URL, and we're gonna call our network manager, and we're gonna say network manager give us for movie response type, right, fetch from movie URL dot URL string. Okay, and once you get the result, you can simply put a switch statement of the result itself and say case. If there is success, then you get the movie response. So you can simply say self dot movies is equal to movie response dot results, and failure is, and simply gonna print the error. Okay, so so if you notice, because we defined it as generic, we were able to give it a type, and the results that were fetched were of that type. So the result that we are getting is movie response result, right? So we're gonna actually use the same function to same way or same method to basically call our get our cast information as well. But before that, let's go ahead and call this get movies with now playing, get movies with upcoming, and get movies with popular. Right now, this is going to have another public function, which is going to be get cast. So we're going to say func get cast for movie. Okay, and we're going to have our network manager, and let's give it a type. So this time the type is going to be cast response, and we're gonna call fetch on it. Now we need a URL, right? So we don't have a URL here in this case, so we're gonna, because cast has a different URL, or no, yeah, cast has a different URL. There are some parameters that are different, so let's go ahead and construct that URL. So first thing we're gonna need is so self dot base URL. Now this self, remember this self is not small s, it's a capital S. That means it can access your type itself, not type instance, and you can get your static variable or static function access via this method. Or alternatively, you could have written movie download manager dot base URL, essentially the same thing. We're going to use the other pattern movie URL, movie download manager dot base URL in the other class. But because we are in the same class, we can use capital S self to call the static function, okay, or static variable in this case. We're gonna need movie ID, right? So we're gonna because cast expects a movie ID to be passed in, and when there is no, if it's a nil, which most likely is not going to be, I'm just going to default it to 100. And then it has, you in the URL, it has credits, which is the endpoint, and it also expects us to pass API key, which is stored in our API.key, and language. Okay, so this is the URL, and what you can do is a URL string. You can simply gonna pass that. So this is the endpoint that we wanna make a network call to, and this is gonna give us a result back. Now we can once again put switch statement on the result, and we're gonna say case success is let response self.cast is equal to response.cast. So as you can see, it's already the type has been adopted to match the type that we actually created our generic for. We're gonna print the error. Okay, let's go ahead and try to build. All right, so our build was successful. Now there's one last thing that I need to do, so I want to do that really quickly as well, and that is going to be movie review manager. So movie reviews manager, okay, another class that's going to be responsible for downloading stuff for movie reviews. So once again, SwiftUI, import from SwiftUI, or you can import from Combine, doesn't matter. SwiftUI actually has Combine included. Movie review manager. This is once again is going to be observable object. It is going to publish reviews. So I'm going to create an empty review object, and we're going to have a private variable for movie, because which movie review we are, which movies review we are talking about, right? So that's actually the review, and we're gonna access. We can either use the same base URL from movie download manager, but I want to keep it separate. Like, you know, keep these two classes separate. So I'm gonna take this and paste this here. Or alternatively, what you can do is you can create in your API, you can have the base URL defined. You can do that too. I think that's a better idea. But let's go ahead and keep going. But if you feel like changing, please feel free to change. Now we're gonna create a function for get movie reviews. Okay, and this is simply gonna call another function, another private function, get reviews for movie. Okay, once again we're gonna call our network manager, and let's give it a type, review response dot fetch, and we're gonna need the URL. So let's construct the URL. So URL string is going to be self dot base URL. Okay, and then you have your movie dot ID. If it's nil, just use 100. Reviews, and then your API key. Okay, so we're going to use this URL string, and we get the result. I'm going to put a switch statement on the result. response results, and gonna have another case for failure, which is gonna print the error, and that's about it. So that's our reviews API call. So as you notice, like how easy it got after we created network manager, that we could reuse that network manager everywhere we needed an API call. Okay, with this, our networking related stuff is done, and now what we're going to do is we're going to work on our async image control, basically downloading images asynchronously, so um, we can get that going and then come back to basically populate our views or create our views. Let's go ahead and build at this point to see if there is any build issues. So nothing, so we are actually good. All right, so let's go ahead and create our async image loader. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new file, and this is going to be called image loader. Okay, and this time let's import from combine for change, and we're going to import from UI kit as well, and we're going to create a final class image loader observable object. Okay, it is going to publish an image of type UI image. Okay, and we're going to create a privately settable variable is loading to indicate if the image is loading or not. Okay, and we're going to create some variables. So URL, so we're gonna need a cache, image cache. We have not created that yet, so let's go ahead and create our image cache. So I'm going to create a new file called image cache. Okay, and this image cache is, first of all, let's import from UI kit, and we're going to define a protocol called image cache, which is going to have a subscript. Okay, and the subscript is going to take URL, and it will return in UI image. Okay, um, get set. Okay, so it's going to be gettable and settable. Now we're gonna create an implementation of cache, so you can have your persistent based cache where, like, you're storing your images into a disk, or like core data, or anywhere, right? In our case, we're gonna use ns cache. Okay, so we're gonna create temp image cache, basically for, like, this is reason is temporary because it's in memory, and we're going to create private let cache ns cache of type ns url and ui image. Okay, and now we're gonna simply create that. So I'm gonna say cache ns cache. Okay, let's go ahead and format, and does not conform. Yeah, it will conform to the protocol in a minute. Count limit is going to be 100, means 100 items that it can support, and cache dot total cost limit is going to be 100 MB. So 024 times 100. Okay, so 1 MB, and you actually times 100 is 100 MB. And now we're gonna create our cache. There we go. Okay, now let's go ahead and make sure this conforms. Okay, so we can have our subscript. I'm gonna cut and paste it down at the bottom. There we go. For get, we can simply say cache dot object for key. So this basically we're gonna take the key and key is the URL, right? So URL. Yeah, we can let user define that without any prefix or like name. So URL as ns URL. Okay, so you're gonna get that and return that cache key. Whenever the cache is set, we're gonna check for new value. If it's nil, then cache dot remove object for key, and the key is going to be URL, right, as ns URL. Otherwise, if it's not nil, so we're gonna set the cache set object for key. We're gonna take the new value and we can force unwrap that because we know that value is not nil. We just checked for it, and we're gonna say URL as ns URL. Okay, so that's our image cache. Now let's go back and if we say image cache, it should actually recognize that. Okay, so it's going to be optional. Okay, and we're gonna create a variable for cancellables. Any cancelable. All right. Now we're gonna create a processing queue. So image processing queue, which is a dispatch queue. So dispatch queue. We're gonna give it a label image processing. Okay, and now we're gonna have our initializer, which is gonna take URL and cache. If there's any cache that's being passed, self.url is equal to URL and self.cache is equal to cache. For deinit, we wanna cancel, call a function. Okay, and create that function cancel. And this is basically simply going to call our cancelable dot cancel. Okay, and then we are going to have a function to load the image. Okay, and this function is basically first going to check if not loading already. If it is, then return from here. Otherwise, get the image from cache. Okay, and we're gonna say self.image is equal to image. Okay, and return from here. Otherwise, we're gonna call our cancelable URL session. Let's use URL session in this at this time to show you how you can use data task publisher. Okay, and data task publisher takes a URL, so we're gonna supply that URL. We're gonna map UI image data part to whatever returns. The first parameter that returns, it has data property, so we're gonna return that. Okay. All right, data task publisher, yes. Replace error. So we're gonna replace error with nil. So you're gonna have like nil image, handle events, and handle events is gonna have like a few things. So um, whenever you receive subscription, so we're gonna simply get the reference for week self. Okay, and we're gonna have these functions on start and on finish and stuff. So let's go ahead and first get these. So receive subscription, receive output. So for receive output, we are going to have, oops, okay, week self, and self dot. We're gonna call a function called cache. We don't have that one, so we're gonna create that, but we're gonna supply the image when we get it. So we're gonna be creating all these functions, so don't worry about it. Okay, then we're gonna have week self. That's gonna be a function for finished on finish. Okay, and what is that? Okay, there we go. All right, and we do need on cancel. So on cancel is gonna do the same thing as this guy right here. Okay, we don't need on receive, so we are good there. Okay, so let me go ahead and create these functions first. So we already have cancel. We're gonna create on start. Okay, and we are simply gonna set is loading to true in that case. We're gonna create one for on finish, and is loading is gonna be set to false in that case. Okay, and then we're gonna have a function to store cache. So cache. Okay, so we're gonna store that. Let me go ahead and, so let's see, handle event. Okay, expected. All right. Okay, so handle event is gonna be called. Let's make sure we are actually closing all the parentheses properly. Okay, that's good. Um, now subscribe on. So we have like our image processing queue, so we're gonna call that, and receive. So this is the receive queue. So we're gonna receive responses on main queue. Okay, and finally we're gonna call sync. Okay, so this is okay. So let's go ahead and check it out. What's the issue here? Yeah, that guy right there. Let's see. Not really. So we got call on finish here for the completion and cancellation. Okay. let's go ahead and say, okay, so I guess this one guy is not going to be there. There's no parameter on receive, and this is saying that. So let's create a var. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and try to build, and our build should succeed. Okay, so that is our image loader right there. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to create, first let's go ahead and create an environment key. So I'm going to create a new file, and we are going to name this file environment values plus image cache, because we're going to be storing image cache environment values. So UI, let's import from that, and we're going to create a struct image cache key environment, right? And we're going to create a default value. Okay, so default value is going to be of type image cache, and we're going to initialize our temp image cache right there. Okay, and for the extension on environment values, we are simply gonna say image cache get. All right, come on. Okay, get, and this is gonna be self image cache key dot self. Okay, and for set, we are simply gonna say self image cache key dot self is equal to new value. There we go. Okay, so this is our image. Oh, not capital S, small s. Now let's go ahead and create our async image view. So let's go ahead and create async image dot swift. Okay, now this async image dot swift is going to be a SwiftUI view. So we're gonna create a struct async image. Now this async image is gonna take a type placeholder type of type view, so it's gonna be constrained to type view, and this is going to return a view of or conform to the view protocol. We're gonna create a state object, private var loader is gonna be image loader, and private let placeholder private let image, which is gonna be of type a closure, which is gonna be UI image, returning an image like so. Okay, for the initializer, we're gonna expect URL. We're gonna expect view builders, so we go ahead and separate them in different lines. So view builder, so we're gonna have placeholder, okay, which is going to give us placeholder and another view builder type for image, and this is going to be escaping closure, which has stakes UI image and returns an image, and we're going to simply say image.init UI image. Okay, and here we're going to simply say self.placeholder is placeholder, self. image is image, and we're going to initialize our loader. So we are going to access internal property underscore loader that's created for a state object, and we're going to say state object, and we're going to get the wrapped value. Wrapped value is going to be coming from image loader, which expects a URL in the cache. So URL is actually passed to us, so we're going to use that. And for cache, we're going to go to environment, and we're going to fetch that image cache, and we're going to get the wrapped value for that. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and build and see. Does not conform. Oh yeah, do we need to call that? And it does not conform. Okay, so body, and there you go. So we're gonna have content dot on appear and we're gonna perform loader dot load. Now this content is a private variable, some view type, which is a group. Okay, and this group is gonna say if loader dot image is not equal to nil. That means we have some image, right? In that case, we're gonna simply say image loader dot image. Okay, and otherwise we're gonna call our placeholder variable. There you go. Okay, so our content is gonna appear image dot load loader dot load. Okay, there we go. Perform that function, and whenever content appears. Okay, so this is our custom view that is actually going to get us network based image. Okay, so now this asynchronous image part is complete. So we are ready to go back to our SwiftUI views and start constructing those views and putting everything together. So let's go ahead and start the view construction. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is we are going to go to our movie view. Okay, and in this movie view, we will first create some state objects. So search term or search capability, selection index for our segmented control, and tabs for the tabs that we're going to be displaying. So we're going to be displaying now playing, upcoming, let's call it trending or popular, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. We're also gonna need an observed object, type movie manager, movie download manager. Okay, and we are going to basically create an initializer so we can override some of the appearance object. So if you have used list, you probably might already know this, but list underneath uses UI table view. So if you want to set properties about the appearance of the list, then if and those properties, if they are not if the view modifiers are not available for the list, you have to actually reach down to the UI table view and set those objects from the UI table view layer level. Okay, so let me show you what I'm talking about. So you can simply create an initializer. So let's say you want your background color, your UI table view should not have any background color. By default it has white. So or your list in this case, basically UI table view, essentially same thing as list in SwiftUI. So yeah, if you don't want to have that, so you can simply say UI table view dot appearance dot background color is equal to UI color dot clear. Okay, that's gonna set your background color for your list to be clear. Okay, and we similarly we're gonna do something similar for UI table view cell, and we're gonna set few properties for this. So first of all, selection style, we're gonna say it's gonna be none, so we don't display any selection. Background color is gonna be clear, and okay, cell background color, I think we should be able to access because there's a list background, so we should be good there. Now let's set some navigation properties. So your navigation view is backed by navigation controller, and navigation controller has a UI navigation bar. So we're gonna access UI navigation bar, and we can access its appearance object. So I'm gonna copy this so I can paste it again. Background color. So first of all, we're gonna say background color is gonna be clear color. Tint color is gonna be white. Bar tint color is gonna be orange. Title text attributes. So for foreground color, we're gonna say it's gonna be UI color dot orange, and large title text attributes is gonna be same thing. Okay, and we also gonna set the background image. So basically, if you whenever you create your navigation view, there is a shadow that is dropped on the view. It's actually a background image. So we're gonna no, sorry, there is a shadow object and there is a background image. So we're gonna set the background image to be UI image and empty image for default, and there is a shadow for that, and that is an image which is set, so we're gonna set it to an empty image as well. Okay, so these are all the appearance changes that we're gonna do on our view. All right, and now for the body, we're gonna say there's a v-stack. Excuse me. This v-stack is going to have another v-stack, which is going to have alignment of leading, and then it's going to have text, tabs, selected index. There you go. Okay, and let's give it some modifiers. So font is going to be large title, bold, foreground color is going to be red, padding, we are only going to give it a top padding. Okay, underneath there's going to be an h stack, okay, which is going to have an image, system name, and we're going to use SF symbol once again. So I'm going to use magnifying glass, and we're going to give it image scale medium. Okay, we're gonna have text field. We're gonna have text field placeholder. Text is gonna be search, and text is going to be search term. Okay, whatever the search term uh, we have set in the search term. So this is a state variable. So whenever it changes, this is going to be observed as well by binding. Okay, text field style. All right. Okay. Yeah, this is wrong. It should be text field style rounded text field style. Okay. Right. And then gonna give it some padding in horizontal space. Okay, next we're gonna create our segment control. So segment control, and this is basically going to be a V stack with picker. Let's say something selection index, and for each we're gonna put, and this for each is gonna go over everything that's in the tab. So it's gonna get the count for that. So we're gonna run the for each, and we get the index. So we're gonna simply say index in text tabs at index dot font is gonna be title, and it's gonna be bold. Tag is going to be the index itself. Okay. Let's set the picker style to be segmented picker style. Okay, and we want to also put on change on this, and we're going to say on change of selection index perform something. Okay, and that something is going to be, we're going to check the selected index, and we're going to say if the selected index is 0, we're going to say movie manager dot get now playing. Okay, else if selection index is 1, we're going to say movie manager dot get upcoming. Else if selection index is 2, then we're going to say movie get popular. Okay, so these are three basically whenever we're gonna change those tabs, we're gonna call different functions for the movie manager, and we also gonna have padding. And now that movie manager is going to have its movies set whenever these calls are successful. So what we're going to do is we're gonna go create a list here, and in that list we're gonna have our for each. Okay, and this for each is going to be on movie manager dot movies, and we are also going to apply a filter here. So what we're going to do is we're going to say if there is a search term, so search term is empty, right? Then we're going to simply return true. Otherwise we're going to say is take first argument's title. Okay, lowercase that, right? And let's take a look what is going on, because it should be okay, should be auto completing. So search term is empty, return true. Okay, otherwise, and let me put this in another line as well. So Otherwise, we're gonna take first parameter, gonna get the title property for that movie, right? And we're gonna lowercase that, so lowercase, and we're gonna say localized standard contains search term dot lowercase, right? Okay, movie n. So let's go ahead and build this, and cannot convert. So we want to create a filtered movie, and okay, I guess wait a minute, this is the wrong place. This is our closure. There we go. All right, let's check out the error. Come on. Ah, lowercase. If the lowercase is not there, then return true. There you go. Sorry, that was a typo. Typo. Okay. I don't want to do that. Okay, that's good. All right. So what we get basically, if we have anything in the search term, then we wanna filter our movies with that title. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get access to the title of the movie, lowercase it, search within it, so localized standard content for the search term. If the search term dot lowercase contains that, then return those filtered movies, otherwise return true. That means, like, return all the movies. Okay, now this is going to be wrapped inside a navigation link. Okay, and navigation link is going to be the one that we're going to use, is going to be destination. So destination, we're going to simply say text and movie dot title. Okay, and for the label, we are simply going to say text movie dot title. Let me see. Okay, so title, yes. Let's say title with, I'm not sure why the autocomplete is not working, so you're gonna find out there might be some issue. Um, so let's see. Um, ah, okay. Oh, now it's working. Okay. I don't know. Okay. So basically, it's basically gonna show a navigation link, and inside the navigation link, we can have destination. So destination is basically where, when upon tapping on that link, where should it go, and we are simply gonna display a text here, and we're gonna display a text of movie title as well in the content. We're gonna come back and populate this with a cell, a movie cell that we're gonna custom define. But for now, we're gonna set the list row background to be color dot clear. So we already have that modified, so we're going to use that. Okay, and we're going to say on appear for this movie. We want to perform something, so we're going to say on appear call movie manager, get now playing, because that's the first tab. Okay, and I'm also going to put a spacer down here. Okay, let's go ahead and run this and see if we can get. So there is some issue in the URL. Unsupported URL. Okay. All right, so if you recall, go back to your movies. Yeah, there you go. So base URL, we never came back and replaced this. So I'm gonna just say movie download manager dot base URL. Okay, let's go ahead and call that. Now the URL should be an actual URL for the movie. And if you notice, we have all the movies loading up, right? And you can click on it. Oh, there is a back button here because we are overriding the, we are actually making the tint color to be like white, and that's why it's not being displayed. Anyways, you have all your movies, your upcoming is working, your trending is also working. Okay, let's try the search term, Wonder Woman. Yes, it is working. And Soul, yeah, it is working. Okay, cool. So yeah, so that's basically that's successful, that our network call is working, and our view is now loading some movies. So what we're going to do next is we are going to create our custom movie cell, which is going to display the details about the movie. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing next. All right, so we're going to create our movie cell now. So let's go ahead and create a new view, a new file, and let's select a search file actually. Movie cell. Okay, gonna import from SwiftUI and gonna create a struct movie cell conforming to view, and we're gonna expect a movie to be passed in. All right, and then for body, we are going to create first an edge stack. Okay, this edge stack is gonna have alignment at top and spacing of 20 points. Okay, now we're gonna use our async image function that we created, which expects a URL. It gives us a placeholder and an image, so I'm gonna select that one. And for the URL, we actually get the URL from movie. So movie dot poster path as the URL. Okay, and we are returning some sort of poster or some sort of image, so we can first unwrap that. And for the placeholder, I am simply going to say, don't read this guy, I'm simply going to say it's going to be a rectangle with foreground color to be color dot gray dot opacity 0.4. Okay, and for the image, we're gonna get the image, which is gonna be UI image, and we're gonna take that and construct an UI image from that image that we have received and make it resizable. Okay, right. So now we have our image. We're gonna set so let's set the frame first. Width is going to be 100, height is going to be 160, alignment default, animation dot ease in out, duration 0.5, transition is going to be opacity, scale to fill, corner radius, we're going to set it to 15, and we also going to set some shadow, and that's going to be 15 as well. Now next to the movie, we are going to have a title. So this was just the image part right here, right? So what you can do is you can simply create a private var movie poster variable, right? And this variable can return this guy. And here, all you need to do is call movie poster, like so. Okay, and so let's construct another piece, and we're gonna do something similar. So then there's a VStack, and inside this VStack, we are going to have, first of all, alignment as leading and spacing as 0. Okay, and then you're gonna have text, and this text is gonna be title with language. Font is going to be system font of size 15, bold, foreground color to be blue. Okay, so that's your movie title. All right, and next to movie title, you're gonna have an H stack, which is where you're gonna show the rating, the average vote rating and stuff. So that's what we're gonna actually have it here. So we're gonna have a Z stack, which is going to have a circle, and we're gonna trim the circle. So this is how you create that progress, like how much is filled, how much is not, and we're gonna use CG float of movie dot vote average. Okay, the value for that, and so this is our normalized value, right? Vote average is our normalized value, so we're gonna show that. And once again, this value exists between 0 to 1, because we are dividing that by 10, because we know the maximum range is 10. Color, I'm gonna color this as color dot orange, and line width is gonna be 4. Okay, let's give it a frame size of width about 50 points, and we are also gonna define a rotation effect, because if this was a circle, like let's see if I have something. Okay, so if this was a circle, right, the start point is usually on the right hand side, so we want to move it at the top, so that's why we're gonna actually rotate this by 90 degrees, or negative 90 in the negative direction. Okay, all right, so that's our first circle. Then we're gonna have another circle, which is going to be showing, like the path for, like this progress, and this path is going to be trim as well, and this is going to be complete, so 0 to 1, and the stroke is going to be color dot orange dot opacity 0.2. Okay, and line width is going to be 4 points. For the frame, we're gonna once again have the width as 50, remaining everything is gonna be default. Rotation effect once again is gonna be degrees negative 90. Okay, we also want to show a text at the center, so we're gonna simply say text string dot init, and I'm gonna use the one that takes a format, and the format is going to be percent 0.2 f, and we're going to use movie dot vote underscore average. If it's not there, then show 0.0. Okay, all right, let's give this guy foreground color, which is going to be orange as well, and font is going to be subheadline. Okay, let's give this entire thing a height of 80 points, and then we're gonna have a text for release date, so movie dot release date, So foreground color is going to be black. Let's see. Let's give it a black. And font is going to be sub headline as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and create some variables. So private r, I think first variable we're going to need movie title. All right, and I'm going to take this guy right here and replace this with movie title and put it right here. And this Z stack is basically our voting view. So voting average view. So private, this is capital V, private R movie vote or votes, and I'm gonna simply run that. So movie votes that, and this is gonna be movie release date. Okay, movie release date. Not data actually. It should be date. I actually even name it data, so it should be date. So let me go ahead and fix that because that's not gonna return anything. So where is it? There you go, date. Okay. All right. Okay, so that's our cell. Let's go ahead and build it. Okay, there we go. So now all we need to do is go to our movies view, and right here in the label section for navigation link, we're simply gonna call movie cell, and we're gonna pass the movie. Okay, let's go ahead and run this. If we are getting our images loaded, there we go. We are getting our async images loaded, and if you notice, our progress bar is looking good too. And I guess what we are missing is the overview. Okay, so under our movie cell, we forgot about the overview, and overview should be shown here. So let's go ahead and create. What about the text movie dot overview? About the movie. Once again, font is going to be font this time is going to be body, and foreground color is going to be color dot gray. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a local variable for this too. Private var movie overview some view. Okay, and we're going to simply call it movie over like that. Okay, let's go ahead and build it again and take a look. There we go. So we have our movie reviews and their descriptions showing up. Okay, so I guess the next step. So let's go ahead and try it out for upcoming and for trending as well. So okay, so all the data is being loaded fine, and we can still search. That's good, and our graph is looking really good. Actually, it turned out to be really good. Okay, all right, so I guess the next thing that we're gonna work on is going to be our movie detail. Okay, so let's go ahead and get our movie detail populated, so our movie detail view created, so we can replace this destination with our movie detail view. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and create our movie detail view. So I'm gonna create a new view here, and we're gonna call this one movie detail view. Once again, it's gonna be importing from SwiftUI. Let's go ahead and build it. Okay. Let's create a struct movie detail view conforming to view. Okay. First thing we're gonna do is we are going to let's create a state object. State object. Come on. State object. Okay. State object private var loader image loader. There we go. And observed object movie manager. Download manager. Okay. We also gonna expect movie to be passed in. So we're gonna create our initializer, and we're gonna say self.movie is equal to movie, and we're gonna access the loader internal loader object, and say state object, initialize that with the wrapped value for image loader for URL and cache. So once again, URL is going to be string movie.poster path. Cache is going to be environment. Image cache dot wrapped value. Okay, so this is going to initialize our loader and our movie manager with movies. Oh, we should initialize this. Actually, there we go. Okay, expected. Oh yeah. Okay, build. Okay, does not conform to view protocol. Yes, of course. Let's deal with that. Okay. Now we are going to create our Z stack first, and this Z stack is going to have an alignment with top, and there's going to be some background view. So background view. Okay, so let's go ahead and create that private var background view, some view. Okay, this background view is going to call something called image view, which whenever appears, so it's going to have on appear, gonna call loader.load. Okay, and it's gonna also add a blur property with radius of 100. Okay, let's go ahead and create this image view. And this is basically going to be a group if loader.image is not equal to nil. Then we are simply going to say image UI image loader.image, and we're gonna make this return this image resizable. Otherwise, we're gonna return a rectangle in the meantime while the image is loading. Foreground color dot gray dot opacity 0.4. Now mind this that this loader is once again gonna go and check the cache first, and if the image already exists in the cache, it's not gonna download it. Okay, because our cache is already defined, so it's going to be used. Okay, so our background view is done, and then we're going to have a scroll view, and this scroll view is going to be in vertical direction. Shows indicators is going to be false. And there's going to be a VStack. Now this VStack is going to show basically all the details about movies, right? So there's going to be a header view. So let's go ahead and create that. Okay. Now this header view is going to have a VStack, which is going to have a text movie dot title with language, and we're going to give it a font of title. It's also going to have a text release date, which is movie dot release date. If nothing, then we're simply going to display nothing there, just a dash. Okay, and it's going to have a font of sub headline. Okay, and this whole thing is going to have a foreground color of white. So that's our header view. Next is going to be movie poster view. Okay, and let's create our movie poster view. All right, so movie poster view is going to be an H stack with spacer on two sides with alignment as center, and image view. So we're going to reuse that image that we downloaded with width and height. This time is going to be width is 200, height is 320, alignment is default, and we're going to also give it a corner radius of 20 points. Okay, so that's going to be your movie poster view. So poster is going to be displayed next. All right, right underneath we're going to have movie overview. So movie overview, private var movie overview, some view, and this is basically going to be a text movie dot overview. Font body, and we're gonna make it fixed size in horizontal direction to be false and vertical direction to be true, with padding in the top for 16 points. Okay, so that's gonna be our movie overview, and right underneath the movie overview we're gonna have a link for reviews. So gonna simply say review link. Okay, and this is basically going to be a link that will take you to reviews page. Okay, and this is going to be a VStack with divider and navigation link. And this navigation link, I'm going to use the destination. And right now, we're going to just say uh, some review. And for the label, we are going to use a new view for movie review, right? But for now, we're just gonna simply say is movie dot yeah title maybe for now. Okay. um or yeah, actually this yeah, this is going to be, oh, this is our label, sorry, I got confused with movie review view. Okay, this is just the label what it's gonna read. So the label is simply going to be reviews, and font body, font weight medium, foreground color white. There's also going to be a spacer. Okay, and right underneath the navigation link, we can have another divider like so. Okay, so that's our review link. Okay, under our review link, we're gonna have cast info. So cast info, and under the cast info, let's finish this. We can have a spacer. Okay, and we're also gonna give some padding in the top for 84 points, and padding in horizontal direction for 32 points. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to say edges instead all safe area, and we're going to say all. Okay. We know this error exists, so let's go ahead and create a variable for that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a private variable, cast info some view, and here we're going to have a v-stack with alignment as leading, and this is going to have a text first, cast, okay, with foreground color as white. Then there's going to be a scroll view, which is going to be in horizontal direction, shows indicators is going to be false, and for the content it's going to have hstack, which is going to have alignment at the top, spacing of 20 points, and for the content it's going to have a for each loop. Okay, and here we're going to call our movie manager dot cast. Okay, this gives us a cast in, and here we are simply going to have a vstack, and let's get our async image with URL. So the URL is going to be cast dot profile profile photo. Oh yeah, of course, this is a URL. Okay, for the placeholder, we are going to use rectangle, foreground color dot gray, opacity 0.4. Okay, and for the image, we're gonna get the image, and we're gonna construct the image, make it resizable. let's go ahead and build to see where the error is. Of course, this needs to be removed, and let's go ahead and build again. And okay, good. All right, so let's give our async image some properties or some view modifiers. So width is going to be 100 and 160. Alignment is default, and animation is going to be ease in and out, or ease in is okay. 0.5. Transition is going to be opacity, scale to fill. Corner radius is going to be 15. Shadow is going to be 15 as well. Okay, next to it we're gonna, or below it, we're gonna have a text for cast. So we're gonna say cast dot name. Okay, if it's not there, then we're gonna simply show a dash there, and we're gonna put as, so what character they played, right? So cast dot character dash as well. Okay, and then we're gonna have a font of caption, foreground color of white, frame of 100, fixed size, let's give it a fixed size, and horizontal direction we're gonna say false, and vertical direction we're gonna say true. And I'm gonna build and see if there's any issue. Something is missing. Yes, width is missing here, so I'm gonna say width. There we go. Let's go ahead and build it. Okay, awesome. Okay, so whenever our VStack is gonna appear, we're gonna say on appear. I'm gonna call movie manager dot get cast for movie. Okay, all right, so this is our movie detail view. I guess we actually put that cast info in place. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and I didn't mean to run it because we're gonna actually go ahead and put that right here. So we're gonna call movie detail at the destination. So movie detail view with movie supplied. And let's go ahead and build now. There we go. So this is our movie. So let's take a look at Wonder Woman. As you can see, our background is showing up, and all of our details are also showing up. And this is our cast. And let's take a look at the review. And review has nothing in it. So we will actually fix that in a minute. And if you notice, all of our views have a nice blurred background, and the image, everything in center, and then you have, like, yeah. Okay, so it seems to be working fine, and notice how our navigation view is also customized with transparent background. Okay, so I guess next we can design our review view, movie review view, and discover view right after that. Okay, right. All right, so let's go ahead and create a new file for our movie review view. So I'm going to create movie review view. Okay, and import from SwiftUI. Going to create our struct. and this is going to expect a movie to be passed in. Along with, we're going to create an observed object for movie review this time. Movie review manager. There we go. Okay, and we're gonna have an init which is gonna expect a movie to be passed in. All right, and we are going to say self.movie is equal to movie along with self.movie review manager. um, let's name it movie review manager. So movie review manager, and we're going to initialize this, and movie review manager expects a movie to be passed in. So movie review manager, and we're gonna pass movie to initialize that. Now what we need to do is basically we also we need to set the separator and style like UI table view cell and stuff like that here as well. So we're gonna simply say UI table view dot appearance dot separator style to be none, UI table view cell dot appearance dot background color is equal to clear color, and we're gonna set the UI table views appearance dot background color to clear color as well. Okay, now our body view, our body property, so body, and we're gonna have a Z stack, and this Z stack is going to have alignment of top. Okay, and we're gonna use color, so black color with opacity 0.7. Okay, and then we're gonna have a list. Okay, inside the list we're gonna have a for each, and this is going to be basically movie review manager dot reviews. So we're gonna get individual review out, and we're gonna simply use a V stack, and we're gonna display text views or use text views to display author information. Font, we're gonna give it title and make it bold, and there's another text which is gonna show review dot content, and font for this one is gonna be body, and we're gonna set the line limit. So line limit to be nil. Okay, by default, starting SwiftUI 2.0, line limit value is already by default 2.0. Okay, so we don't need to specify it, but I just kept it for backward compatibility if you're using SwiftUI 1.0 in order to support iOS 13 as well. List row background is going to be color dot clear, and so this is our for each, and on our list we're gonna attach on appear observer. So basically whenever on appear, whenever this view appears, we're gonna say review manager dot get movie reviews. Okay, we are also going to get some padding set for horizontal direction, about 32 points, and for the Z stack, we're gonna say edges ignoring safe area in all directions. Okay, so this is our movie review view. So let's go into our detail, and in the detail, wherever we are calling movie review destination right here, we're gonna say movie review view, which expects a movie, and we're gonna supply that movie. So okay, let's go ahead and run this now, and what we should get is basically, if we tap on our review, we should be able to see reviews. Okay, so there could be Let's see. So reviews are not appearing. That means there can be some issue. So let's go ahead and debug this. Okay, let's go into Movie Review Manager. And what I want to do is I want to basically get the URL first. Okay, so let's see. All right, let's go ahead and run it again. And I'm gonna tap on review, and it should. Okay, so our movie review manager is not being get review is not being called because we are not calling that. Okay, for movie. Okay, that should actually resolve the issue. Okay, let's try it one more time. Wonder Woman reviews, and there we go. We have all of our reviews showing up. Perfect. Okay, so that is good. Now we can actually continue. So next we're gonna create our discover view. So if you go back, our discover view still says, like, hello discover. There's nothing into it. So we're gonna create that using geometry reader. We're gonna create that swipeable view that has movie cards in it. Okay, all right, so that's gonna be okay. So let's get our movie review going. So what I'm gonna do is let me clear this. Okay, I'm gonna create a new file right here, and we are going to call this file discover view. Okay. Oh, we already, okay, my bad. We already have discover view, so we should use that. Okay. All right. So now what we're going to do is we are going to first create some state properties. So state index, basically the current index that's being shown, and an observed object for movie manager. Okay, and we're gonna get the spacing. I'm gonna say spacing is 10 points, and let's create another state show details to be false. Okay, and I'm gonna move this right where all our state variables are, or state properties are. Okay, now inside the body we're gonna create our geometry reader. Okay, this geometry reader is gonna give us a geometry proxy. Let's call it geo actually. I was just debating if I should call geometry or not, but I think we're gonna keep calling this. So let's go ahead and call it something small. We're gonna create a scroll view. Now this scroll view is gonna be scrolling in horizontal direction, and we're gonna say shows indicators is gonna be true. Okay, and we're gonna simply have an edge stack with spacing as spacing that we have actually created, right? Okay. Okay. Spacing variable right here. That's what we're gonna use, and then we're gonna say for each movie manager dot movies. Okay, and we're gonna get movie object, and now we're gonna create a movie card. So create movie card here. Okay, now this movie card we're gonna create it in a minute, but let's go ahead and set the properties for geometry reader and content offset and everything as well. So we're gonna take the content and we're gonna offset this in X direction or the value that's been set in the offset. Okay, and offset is a state property, so we're gonna be updating that whenever user drags on it. So we're gonna add a drag gesture, but before adding that drag gesture, we're gonna give width and height. So we're gonna say width is gonna be geometry proxy dot size dot height. Width. Okay, and for the alignment, height we're gonna leave, and for the alignment we're gonna say it's gonna be leading. Okay, yeah, okay, and then we're gonna have gesture. Okay, and this gesture is gonna have a drag gesture, so drag gesture. Okay, and drag gesture is gonna have on changed. Okay, on change is gonna give us the access to the value whenever it changes, and we're gonna simply set the offset with value dot translation dot width, and we're gonna subtract that from geo dot size dot width times cg float index. Okay, should still be able to build. Okay, cool. Now whenever this gesture ends, so on ended, we're gonna say on ended. Okay, this is gonna give us access to value whenever the gesture ends. Okay, you're gonna say if negative value dot predicted and translation. So we're gonna say predicted and translation dot width. So wherever it's gonna end up, depending upon the velocity and everything. So this is the value that you actually get, and you're gonna say if that value is greater than half of the width, right? Then take the index, and basically another check that you need to do is index is less than movie manager dot movies dot count minus 1. So you're not throwing index out of bound. If that is the case, index increment that by 1. Okay, now if value dot predicted and translation, so I'm gonna take this. If I did make a spelling mistake, we're gonna find out in a minute. I think we did. Okay, there's extra C there. Oh, sorry, A there. Okay, predicted and translation dot width is greater than geo dot size dot width divide by 2, and self dot or simply index is greater than 0. In that case, we're gonna say index minus equal to 1. So we're gonna depending upon where the drag gesture ends, we're gonna simply use that to either go forward or go backward within the bounds. Okay, now for all this is gonna go inside the animation, so we're gonna simply say offset is negative value of geo dot size dot width plus spacing times CG float. So we are simply computing how much offset for a particular card is going to be, and we are wrapping that with within the animation block, so it can be animated. Okay, and we're gonna call on appear for this. So whenever this appears, we're gonna call get now playing movies, or you can get popular movies, whichever you want to. Okay, now let's talk about the movie card itself. So let's go ahead and create the movie card, and there's going to be, like, a few more views that we're going to create, so poster view and detail view and stuff. So let's go ahead and create all those inside of function. So private func movie card takes a movie. Okay, and we're gonna have a Z stack here with alignment bottom. Okay, and this is going to call two different views. So let me go ahead and define shadow and everything first, and then we're gonna first create those views, and then we're gonna call them. So first is gonna be a poster. It is gonna be a function that takes movie. So let's go ahead and create that. Okay, and this is basically, once again, going to be our async image, and we're gonna construct the URL from string movie dot poster path placeholder. It's going to be a rectangle, foreground color. Resizable image. So this is gonna give us an image, and now we're gonna apply animation. Is in out 0.5 durations, and transition is going to be scale to fit to fill, and for the frame we're going to say width is going to be UI screen dot main dot bounds dot width, and times 0.9. So basically 90% of the width we need, and we need 75% of the height. So UI screen dot main dot bounds dot height times 0.75. Okay, alignment, we're gonna give it a center alignment, and corner radius is going to be 20 points. Let's give it a shadow, and this shadow is going to be radius 15, and let's give it an overlay, and this overlay is going to be a rectangle with fill, and this fill is going to be linear gradient with gradient defined in the gradient defined with colors clear, okay, and let's give it a, yeah, clear is okay, that's fine, and we're gonna mark it clipped. Okay, and for the corner radius we're gonna give it 12 points. Okay, corner radius with 12 points. Okay, awesome. Let's go ahead and see what's the error. All right. Result is unused. Okay, because we are not returning anything here. Okay, so we should be good now. Yes. Okay. Now we are also going to need a detail view. So detail view, which is going to have like movie detail and the detail button. So we are simply going to put this inside a function as well. Okay, so we're going to simply say detail view private func. This is going to return some view, and let's change this to not the instance object but type. And we can have a vstack with alignment as leading. Okay, and oops. Here we can have first a spacer, so we can move our view down, and we can have a vstack here with alignment as leading again. Right, and we're gonna have a text, and this text is basically this text is going to be movie dot title with language, and we're gonna have font dot title. We're also gonna have font weight, which is gonna be semi bold. Foreground color is going to be black. Let's give it a padding, leading. So let's give it a padding horizontal and padding at the top. Okay, and then we're gonna have movie dot overview. So it takes the same padding information. Okay, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna have a navigation link underneath. So navigation link. Let's take the overload that has destination and label. So destination is going to be movie detail view, so we're gonna reuse that view, and that expects a movie to be passed in, so we're gonna supply the movie, and text is going to be reading details. Okay, let's make this bold, add some padding, give it a foreground color to be color dot black, and background is going to be color dot orange, and corner radius is going to be about 12 points. Okay, let's give some padding to this one as well, and for the entire thing we're going to have a background which is going to have color dot white dot opacity 0.6, and going to give a corner radius of 12 points, and let's add a line limit of 5 lines. Okay, and add some padding as well. Okay, nice. So with this, I guess we have, okay, yeah, we need to call our movie card. So let's go ahead and call our movie card. here, supplying movie, and we're going to give it a frame, and this frame is going to be coming from the width itself is going to be coming from geometry.size.width. Okay, let's go ahead and build and run and take a look as what we got inside our discover. So our discover should display our movie, and as you can see, our movie cards are showing up just fine. It has, like, this nice little details here, and upon tapping on the detail button you go back to your detail screen. Okay, awesome. Yeah, so yeah, that's actually about it. In this, we actually built out the entire movies app with within SwiftUI using all the native features except the Elmo Fire. Like I said, Elmo Fire, I used it just to show you the Swift Package Manager dependency inclusion. But if you don't want to use it, use URL session, just like we are using URL session right here in image. In image loader or image cache. Okay, we see we are using URL session. Where did I lose it? Oh, there you go. Okay, so yeah, URL session, data task publisher, you can use that as well. And in case if you want to see, like, how to use data task publisher, there is a course on coin tracker, basically, that talks about, like, creating your own cryptocurrency wallet and tracker. And that course displays or shows you how to use data publisher, and how to use all the basically how to refine your output in order to display it and use it within your SwiftUI views. So check it out, and yeah, this is it for this video series, and thanks again for watching. I really appreciate all the support you have given. So thanks again, and I will see you guys in another video series. So thank you.